sorry. Did I break your concentration?
Somewhere between science and superstition.
We have such sights to show you.
Strange Aeons. Welcome to Strange Aeons Radio. That's Eric Morgan over there.
Yes, it is.
And that's Vanessa Williams over there.
Hello.
I'm Kelly Young. We're getting into parents that kill this time. But before that, I wanted to know what you guys have been watching, reading, whatever the hell you've been doing for the last week or so.
Yeah.
Stuff,
things. I mean, we're coming off the holiday season, so there's plenty of sitting around watching stuff. I just finally made my way through Watchmen, so I've caught up with you guys.
Nice.
Cool. What'd you think?
Oh my God, I loved it.
Good.
Oh my God. I was like, this is such brilliant storytelling. I was getting jealous. I couldn't believe it. I was like, you freaking squids. Oh, what? This is so genius. Oh, it's so good. It was really satisfying mentally.
Yeah. I'm glad.
Yeah.
I'm
tough
glad.
episode or two, definitely, but really good. I mean,
Yeah.
tough as in hard to watch.
Sure.
The memory. After
Oh
she
my
took the memory
gosh.
pills,
Yeah.
and, it's like, and then to find out that's loosely based on something that did happen in Oklahoma.
Oh, did it really?
Yeah.
It was a destruction of a neighborhood like that.
Oh my
Destroyed
God.
like $25 million in wealth or something.
Oh my God.
So yeah, it's like, ugh.
Ugh.
But yeah, it's
Yeah.
ready for season 2.
Yeah, absolutely.
I hope not.
Oh, you want it to end where it
thought
ended?
it ended beautifully, and I'm like, look, you guys can only go downhill from here.
I really did wonder when I was coming up close in the last like 15, 20 minutes to the end, I was like, so I guess maybe this is going to be it, because it really felt very conclusive.
Oh, it would not be bad if it it's not like Firefly or something
Right.
where you're going.
But I have faith. I feel like if they did do a season 2, I think from the writing strength of the season, I have a bit of faith it would be good.
Yeah, but this was Lindelof.
I don't think Lost is his
Lost,
fault.
And
I'm not going to blame Lost on him.
Well.
I think Abrams is a little something to do with that too. Because like if I'm after seeing this, I have a lot more faith in Lindelof.
You kind of forget how astoundingly good those first couple seasons of Lost were.
They were so good.
But then they just then that's where you get the studio problem. Like I can see Netflix or Amazon or any of those people going, you know what, we've hit a wall with this. We're not going to make you do a season just so we can have a season.
Right.
Yeah.
But studios certainly, or the ABC or whoever had Lost, certainly did the hell out of that.
Yeah. Because I know, like, I mean, the writers have said frequently, like, yeah, we had to keep going. We had an ending, but we couldn't use it. So we had to just keep going. I mean, it's just painful.
Oh, a way I would be happy to see Watchmen continue would be with new heroes.
Oh, sure.
And then a backstory with one of the other heroes from the Watchmen comic that we didn't get to see. I'm
That'd
like,
be
what happened to Night Owl? I want to know where Night Owl is.
That would be interesting.
That'd be super cool. I loved how like you didn't quite know who certain people were and they were slowly revealed and you're like, yes. I mean, one of them was very, very obvious to me, but some of the others I was like, oh my God, that's awesome.
Very true.
Yeah, it was a good show.
Yeah.
I watched,
Yes.
and I can't believe it took me so long, Dolomite Is My Name.
Excellent.
Cool.
And if I had watched it last year, it would have been on my list of favorite movies. I thought it was just brilliant. I thought Eddie Murphy was brilliant. I thought Wesley Snipes was out of his mind. I'm not even sure if he knew he was in a movie. He was so good.
The movie is so good, it makes Dolomite a better movie.
I then watched Dolomite after
Yes.
watching My Name is Dolomite, and I was able to enjoy it probably a lot more than I would if I had just tried to watch it.
Oh yeah, it's a weird movie, man. That's got some rough, weird scenes going on in there, but it flows so well to the Dolomite Is My Name, and you just see how that's a great film.
Yeah, Eddie Murphy is back. I cannot wait to see what he does next.
Yeah. Have you seen that one?
I have not yet. It's been on my list and I'm really excited to jump on
as
it.
a filmmaker, move it up your list a little.
Okay.
Yeah.
Sure.
It'll make it's it's such a feel good movie about overcoming so much crap to make movies.
To make a film.
Yeah, I guess I was not really ready for that. I didn't know what it was going to be, and I thought it was going to be, I don't know, just kind of silly. And it's so heartwarming.
Yeah.
You just fall in love with that guy.
It's really cool.
That's awesome.
I wouldn't call the one I saw heartwarming, but I did see a very bizarre 70s sci-fi movie.
Ooh.
ZPG, which stands for Zero Population Growth.
Huh.
You had posted about this, and I wanted to watch it.
It's very strange. It's a dystopian future. It's early 70s, like 72. So it kind of preceded a lot of what we think of as sci-fi 70s movies.
Right.
And set the look for a lot of them too, I'm guessing, because they're in the suits, the one-piece bodysuit and all that.
Are they silver?
Nice.
No, I don't think they're silver.
Is everybody bald? That's how you know we're in the real future.
That's true. No, they're not bald. But having
Including the
babies
ladies.
has been made illegal for
Oh.
20 or 30 years, something like that. Nobody's allowed to have babies.
God, if only.
So, of course, Oliver Reed and Geraldine Chaplin, who, yes, is the daughter of Chaplin.
Oh my gosh.
She gets pregnant.
Okay.
So they have to hide the pregnancy, and the way they do it, it's weird. The everything is so polluted that everybody walks around in full face gas mask kind of things whenever they're outside, and the only way to see animals is in a zoo where they're sort of recreated as
Man, this needs to be
statues.
remade.
It's dark.
Oh
It's
my
so dark.
God.
Yeah, you're right, because it's
like
not as
perfect
solid.
climate.
It's not as good as like Rollerball or some of the movies that have been remade.
Yeah.
But I think this one is a good enough premises that it could be remade and made better.
Exactly. I always feel like, why bother remaking a film that's already good? Remake one that didn't quite fly. But I mean, that would just be a perfect film for like our current day and age to be like, hey guys, this is what's going to happen. Just so you know, enjoy.
Have fun.
Cancer water.
You saw this on the Criterion channel, I think you told me?
Criterion has they do themes, and they currently have a 70s sci-fi theme. So I'm in the middle of, was it The Ultimate Warrior, I think, with Yul Brynner?
Yes.
And so I'm watching, like ZPG is actually one I'd been looking for a few years because I read about it in some place, and it just wasn't available in any, and it looks great because it's Criterion, so they're all remastered and they all look amazing. Yeah, if you're at all interested in 70s sci-fi, man, they got a hell of a lineup going right there.
What's that cost?
I think it's like $9 a month.
I don't know. It's just so much. So many. I really, I don't know.
You know, I cut the cord, and now I am paying more than I was when I had cable.
Really?
Come back around to that.
Well, on all of the, pay channels and everything now.
Yeah.
I feel like it's more aimed at the kind of stuff I want.
Yeah.
But, the whole point was I was paying too much.
Yeah.
Now
I was going to say,
paying more than
I'm
that.
still paying significantly less than I would for cable, but I'm also stealing one friend's HBO. I'm stealing somebody else's Netflix. Like, I'm not paying for half these things. And I'm sharing my, logins with other people. I mean, I'm paying for everything. And thank you for your fine services, purveyors of interneting movies.
There you go. I figure if I watch whatever I've got as a streaming service, if I watch at least 2 to 3 films a month on those,
Then it's worth it.
that's less than going to see one movie in the theater.
I'm a little nervous about Disney Plus because now that I've finished Mandalorian, I don't know. I don't have any strong desire to go back and watch a lot of that stuff.
Yeah.
So
Well,
that might get canceled.
I did what you did. I went and watched Monsters University and a couple other things that I just hadn't seen.
Yeah.
The Cat from
they're gonna
Outer
need-
Space was awfully fun again. I had forgotten
I
about
gotta
how
see
much
that
fun
one.
that movie is.
Yeah, I mean, but after you go through the 10 films that you're like, well, it'd be fun to see. Like, they've got to come up with some good new content because I don't really need to watch a show about Jeff Goldblum.
They're doing an Obi-Wan Kenobi series, which
there we go.
unfortunately I heard will have Jar Jar Binks in it as well. So I'm like, really?
I hope it's the actor, though, because that poor actor got so shafted.
This is true.
Give that man work. He deserves it.
Yeah, it wasn't his fault. He didn't. write
No,
the
he thought
character.
he was working really hard,
I'm in a Star Wars movie. My God.
Yeah, they were.
crap.
Nobody knew it was going to be so horrible.
Yes.
Yeah.
Anyway, so other ones we've actually seen.
Oh,
Is there anything you wanna
I
chat about?
saw Ad Astra.
Oh, okay. What did you think?
I really liked it a lot.
Oh, good.
And part of what I liked about it is I think it achieved what High Life failed to do for
okay.
me.
Oh God, we're gonna dump on High Life again.
You know what? It deserves it. Well, the thing is, like, High Life, it's trying to talk about these things in a deep manner, but like I said, the more you look at it, the less it means. With Ad Astra, I totally got the opposite. I was like, oh my God, that's what that means. Oh my God, that's why that relationship leads to this relationship and leads to that thing, to this thing. And everything is very reflective of itself. It's not like the best movie on earth, but it had a really solid through line that I just felt like they explored in a really interesting way.
The effects were insanely good.
Oh my God.
That space battle on the moon, I'm like, what the hell is going on
Totally.
here?
And even like early on when he's wandering around on that like telecommunication tower thing, that was nuts. I was like, and it felt very real. It felt very near future.
Yeah.
It felt like the mundaneness of everyday life currently injected into the future.
Yeah, that's a good way of putting it.
Yeah, which I'm all about.
Yeah, if you're a 2001 kind of fan of that kind of a space movie or Solaris,
Yeah.
definitely check it out. It's right along those lines.
Definitely. And it's funny too, because I was really nervous about seeing it because a friend of mine had just watched it and was like, I couldn't make it past 15 minutes. It was total garbage. And I'm like, yeah. So I was like, okay, here we go. And I was like, but I have to see this. It's science fiction. It came out recently.
Yes.
And no, I was totally engaged the whole time. I was just like
Very
in. So
me too.
yeah.
Nice.
So if you didn't like High Life, go see Ad Astra.
If you did like High Life,
If you
don't.
need to even out the balance of the world, I encourage you.
I watched on Netflix the new BBC Dracula series.
How was that? I've been watching the trailers for that, a little unsure.
I think that, I loved the very first episode. It's set up, it's 3 episodes, they're 90 minutes each. It's just like the Sherlock episodes. And in fact, it's the same creators.
Oh, okay. I didn't realize that.
First episode, I loved. Second episode, I liked a lot. Third episode, I hated. So, I think it's
2 out
worth
of 3
watching.
ain't bad.
Yeah, I think it's worth watching the first 2 episodes because they almost stand alone as films by themselves. So, I thought the effects were really cool. I thought the story was a nice twist. I thought the acting was really good. So,
The Nun was my favorite part. Her through line and her acting are just astounding. She's so good. Dracula was really good, and then he was not. I mean, the actor playing Dracula, I thought.
Like uneven, or do you mean by third episode?
By third episode,
Okay.
he seemed...
Was there a switch in directors?
Yeah.
Yes,
Oh.
each episode a different
Okay.
director.
Yeah.
That explains
that's-
something.
That might explain why each episode looks so different
Yeah, they sure
from
do.
each other.
Yeah.
So-
Maybe they gave them a lot of, since there were only 3, maybe they gave them a lot of creative reins.
Yeah, it could have been. I don't know, but I really enjoyed what they did with the story up until the 3rd episode.
Yes. Yeah. The Harker stuff was great. And
Yeah.
the little moments of the fly
On the eyeball, yeah.
eyeball that gets like, oh.
Yeah, that was a little creepy.
Yeah.
That was hard to watch.
It's not really violent. It's just really like, oh.
Like, yeah.
It's not eye trauma, but it is eye adjacent.
I'm okay with eye adjacent, eye trauma.
I'm with you there.
Yeah.
I think crawling on an eye is a lot different than losing an eye.
Sure.
Yeah.
Yeah, you should see that scene. But yeah, it's worth seeing.
Yeah, I think so.
Yeah. See, I've got a 5-star movie.
Oh my
I haven't
gosh.
done one of these in way too long.
Excellent. Luella?
Luella Hale. Name sounds familiar. Might be a regular listener. Somebody else listens with her. So the recommended film was I Sell the Dead,
I remember that one.
which I had seen before, but I don't even know if I made it through it. So I'm kind of like, I don't know if I like this movie. I'm like, okay, we'll do it. John Film, it's out for rent. Then I went to Half Price Books, and there's the Blu-ray for sale for about $1 less than it would cost to rent. It's like, screw it, I'll take it. Hopefully I'll like it more. We'll go with the basics here. It's Rotten Tomatoes, 72 from critics, 46 from the audience. Budget listing, it's hard to say for sure, but it looks like it was about 750,000, maybe $1 million.
Oh, that's all.
It looks like it was pretty low, but it had to be this was a festival release because its box office was $8,000.
Okay.
Wow.
Directed and written by Glenn McQuaid, who had a short in VHS and has done a bunch of short films, but not a lot of directing since. Starring Dominic Monaghan,
Oh, yes.
who you might know as Mary, Lord of the Rings, and 74 episodes of Lost.
Right.
What?
As Charlie.
And he's in that Star Wars movie for no reason whatsoever.
True. And Larry.
Because J.J. Abrams.
Oh,
Yes.
yeah, that's right. Same with
there you
Carrie, whatever.
Carrie Russell.
Carrie Russell.
Larry Fessenden, I think how you say his name.
Yeah.
He is a Renaissance man of film. He's got 19 writing credits, 24 directing credits, 100 acting credits, and 75 producing credits.
Whoa. Wow. He is like born in the system, lives, breathes, and
Yes.
will die in the system.
Angus Scrimm and Ron Perlman are also featured in the film. I thought it was a story of Blake and Hale, or Blake and
Burke and Hare.
Burke and Hare. And although the bartender makes a joke about that, in the middle it's like, oh, you wouldn't be anything without your young hair here. Well, if you want to see this movie and you don't want any spoilers, I would say stop now and maybe fast forward a few minutes till you can tell I've stopped talking. But because this sucker is not about them at all. It starts off kind of seeming like it will be. It's the beginning, and Larry's character gets killed by a guillotine right off the bat, and Ron Perlman comes in to talk to Dominic about his history to find out what's going on. Apparently, Ron could only do this movie if they limited him to 3 days. So his whole thing was shot in 3 days.
Whoa.
Which is pretty impressive. Not necessarily, he doesn't go a lot of places, but he's in a lot of the film. He's in a good chunk of the movie. They were doing a lot of pages those days. He also helped him get it made, more or less, by agreeing. He's like, hey, let's do some rewrites. We'll expand my role, and I'll come on board. Dominic is taught how to become a grave robber at a very, very young age. And then he grows up, and they're all working together for years. And there's some really fun stylized stuff going on. And then they come to a very particular corpse, shall we say. And they raise a vampire. Like, what the hell? Whoa, what is going on in this freaking movie? And so they dig up a vampire for, ostensibly for Angus, who's the doctor who's paying him for all their stuff, and run into a competing group of herb stealers who are the real badasses. One of them is real tough. One is kind of nuts, and one's a lady whose face has been so horribly scarred that when she shows the two guys her face, they scream for like 4 or 5 minutes while they're in front of a zombie cage with a zombie in the back. Yes, there's zombies in this movie as well. And when the zombie sees her face, he also screams in horror. It's a comedy.
Yeah.
I mean, it's a lot of, it's actually based on a short he did that was much more serious. And it altered the writing to make it much more of a comedy, and it works. I actually really liked it this time around. I
like this movie. I'm a little surprised at such a low Rotten Tomato score.
Yeah. I think the critics are right on this one. 72, 46 is oddly low.
Especially, I mean, if you're a fan of this genre, there's a lot to like in this.
Yes, there is. And maybe, I don't know, maybe there's a whole bunch of people who went in thinking it's going to be Burke and Hare's story, and it sort of feels like it's going to be when it starts out, but then it definitely is not. There's some strange, slower movements kind of in the second act and thing, but nothing major. But it builds up really well and has those fun turns. The vampire moments is like, what? I come across a grave that's frozen solid, and they're not sure why, and they have to dig that up and find out why it's frozen. You know what? This is a really good recommendation. I'm going to say, if you haven't seen this one, go check it out. You might not have. It was. I remember when it popped up a little bit in the festival world. It was sort of a festival darling that year. Its reputation seems to have faded a lot, which is weird because of the people involved with it are really talented, and these are known people.
I'm really surprised to hear you say budget is $750 to $1 million.
Yeah, that's what I found.
It looks great.
Yeah, it does.
And those are some bigger names for a film with a budget under $1 million.
Yep. There are moments you can tell where they had budgetary constraints, where they were doing some weird green screen stuff.
Yeah.
But it works.
It looks almost kind of cool.
Yeah.
I mean, you can tell it's cheap, but it's like, oh, that's neat looking.
Yeah, that works. We're moving time forward, and I'm fine with that.
For whatever reason, a lot of the effects in it reminded me of Army of Darkness.
Oh, yeah.
Type effects.
I wonder if they were doing what is that, rear projection?
Yeah, reverse screen.
Or
yeah, I know what you're talking about.
yeah, I can't remember what it's called. It's not rear projection, but they did that in Army of Darkness for the effects.
Right.
Where they shoot the scene of the background and they put that on the screen, and the actors act in front of the background, in front of that background, as opposed to a matte painting or a green screen. So it creates a very interesting look.
Yeah, you can tell it's fake, but it looks neat.
Mm-hmm. That's probably what it was. It probably wasn't a green screen. So yeah, thanks for that recommendation. Speaking thereof, we need more.
Oh yeah, absolutely.
Now, if somebody wants to leave a 5-star review, we always say please leave it on iTunes, because that's just the god of podcasting knowledge, apparently. If you got another format you like more and you want to leave a 5-star review, let us know you've left it. Then I'll search it out and find it, because it's hard to check all of the review sites.
Good point.
I left a 5-star review for you on iHeartRadio. Why didn't you look at this? Like, thanks.
We didn't even know we were on iHeartRadio.
Right.
Are we on iHeartRadio?
We are.
Oh, there you go.
So if you leave it someplace else, just let us know. We'll hunt it down, find it, and so far, people have been nice. I'm waiting for somebody to send me some garbage thing or something that's gonna,
Yeah, like to torture you. I thought that's exactly what this was gonna do.
I might drop one in there just.
Yeah, we're saving our special 5 stars. I haven't left any yet.
There's this 5-star review from some guy named Casey
by Yelly Kung. Hey, it's funny you mentioned Casey. When I went up to Christmas this year, big family get together, and my niece, who listens to the show, hi Kayla, she comes up, gives me a big hug, and says, "Hi, Uncle Casey." And, okay.
Yeah. I'm a huge fan of hers now.
spreading the word.
Oh my gosh.
Anybody else got anything you want to talk about before we dive into
No.
killing parents?
All right.
Parent killings?
Let's take a little break, and then we will come back and talk about killer parents.
Can Grandma come live with us?
No.
Dad, can I get a Komodo dragon?
Nope.
Can we take a pool?
No.
Dad, can I cut Annie's hair?
No.
Can I join the circus? Can I have a tattoo? Can I get a spray tan? Can I have $48?
No.
Please?
No.
At Tim Hortons, you can say yes for a change, because our delicious kids meal is here. New Timmy's Minis with no artificial colors or flavors.
Back, we're talking killer parents, and Eric, since you chose the subgenre,
Oh, that's right.
you got to go first.
Lucky me. So they're looking at killer parents, so they have to have like a family involved and stuff. And it's just like, well, I'm assuming they have kids at home. Okay. So my first one is problematic, is definitely going to be part of the process of this particular movie, but it's freaking crazy. I think it's 1988, 89, American Gothic.
When you're in need of a little peace and quiet.
She's cured, isn't she? Well, that's a word psychiatry doesn't throw around the way we used to.
When you need to forget.
I'm thinking of taking her on a little trip back to the islands.
What could be better than a return to the wilds?
We had our honeymoon there, and she loved it.
I can't fix it. I think we better check out this island, see what we can find.
What could be more inviting than a return to the past?
Hey, you guys! Look at this.
It's like we just walked into the 1920s.
You guys, I think we better take it easy, huh?
That's all right, children. Been meaning to get rid of them old things anyhow.
These are the backwoods where time has a way of standing still.
Please don't wake up, baby. I'm going to be 12, and I'm going to have a birthday party.
But what harm could you come to playing for children?
Weirdos! You're a bunch of weirdos! I want you to see my baby.
Get back to the old American way.
There will be no devil's play in this house.
That child never does finish a chore.
Is your friend coming or not?
You gotta have patience, son. You should learn to read the good book. He who waits gets.
American Gothic. Welcome home.
You're it! And none of you never gonna get off this island alive! My mom Paul seen that!
Rod Steiger, Yvonne DiCarlo, Michael J. Pollard. American Gothic. Everybody's welcome to stay.
Pleased to meet you. I'm sure.
American Gothic.
Do you know this one?
I feel like I can place the cover.
Yeah, it's a takeoff of what you'd expect. Well, I watched on YouTube, actually very well remastered on YouTube. I'm pretty sure it's out on Blu-ray from somebody. The Rotten Tomatoes has no score from critics, which always blows me away. And 51 from the crowd and the audience, which is not, I don't have a massive argument with that. No idea what the budget or box office was. I could really find nothing on Box Office Mojo or any place that was talking about what they had. Directed by John Hugh, who we've talked about a little bit before. He's also the producer of a film called The Human Race that I showed at MIF many years back. And he directed the Witch Mountain movies. Disney Escape From and Return To.
I remember those.
And The Legend of Hell House.
Oh,
You directed that?
Mm-hmm. Okay. Written by Burt Weddenson. 9 episodes of The Smurfs.
Christ. So he's your favorite, in other words.
Michael Vines was a co-writer, but this is the only credit he had listed. Starring, and here's where you'd recognize some names, Rod Steiger. And who's...
Jeez, needed to pay a rent or something.
Yeah, he's it's an older Rod Steiger. Definitely not In the Heat of the Night or
Right.
Dr. Zhivago. Yvonne DiCarlo, who was Lily Munster.
Yeah.
And Caroline, the victim people, and some of the kids, shall we say. Caroline Barclay from The Game and SFW. Mark Lindsay Chapman, which is not what it sounds like. Who's basically been in a whole lot of Halloween or Hallmark Christmas movies.
Oh, excellent.
Janet Wright, who was in McCabe and Mrs. Miller and The Wiz. So she's brilliant. And Michael J. Pollard, who's been in a ton of stuff, who you will... is a next to kin, Dick Tracy, Scrooge. He's an actor you'd recognize immediately if you're not sure who he is. So... This is an
Take us on a
interesting
journey.
film. It starts off with a lady leaving an insane asylum. You don't quite know why she's leaving at first, but it's revealed as he goes on that she was giving her baby a bath, left the baby alone to answer the phone, and the baby died. So she went into treatment for the baby, feeling like she killed her baby.
Okay.
Well, she kind of did.
Yeah, exactly.
No offense.
It takes place in the Pacific Northwest.
Oh.
Of course, that means it's shot in
Canada?
Yeah.
Yeah. Especially if it has like a Hallmark actress or actor in
exactly.
it. Yeah.
And one of the guys has a wonderful mullet. You know, hey, we are looking at a late 80s movie because he's kind of the good guy and he's got a mullet.
Of course he does.
They are taking planes to go out and visit an island somewhere in the Pacific Northwest, and their plane has trouble, so they have to land and figure out what to do. Find this home. At first, they think it's abandoned. So, of course, being obnoxious older teenagers, they go inside and start playing the records and dancing around and putting on their clothes. Okay, when you walked inside and you saw clothing, record labels, record player, records, did you not assume that maybe people lived here?
Yeah. They just thought it was abandoned.
Yeah. So I walked in, it's like, this looks like it's right out of the 1920s. I'm like, wow, that's a deep pull. I don't think I'd go that deep. Except for maybe the phonograph. Everything else is at least the 60s. So Ma and Pa show up. And this is, of course, Rod and Yvonne play the parents.
Right.
Excuse me.
What does Yvonne DiCarlo look like in 88? I mean, is
Just
she
an old lady?
She's old, right?
Yeah. Oh, yeah. She's probably in her 70s or 80s at least.
Okay.
But they get upset because they will not have devils playing in their house. No devils dancing around and things. Well, they stay and they get to know the family a little, or the parents a little bit later. Well, they go to bed that night. Of course, the men and the women have to sleep in separate rooms. And one of the guys gets up and finds Fanny, who's one of the kids. Fanny's probably 35.
Okay, all right.
Here's where we get into the problematic aspects of this film. All of the kids are adults, though they all act like kids. Now, they don't act like they have mental illnesses or anything. They just act like kids.
Okay.
So it's not as uncomfortable as that might sound. Like, I forgot the name of the movie, but we talked about it a few years back of one that I saw where it was this guy who was trapped in the basement by his family, and the lady comes down to find him, and he's fairly obviously the actor's playing some kind of a mental illness, and that's really uncomfortable.
Right.
This film sort of has that. The problems come from a couple of the just horrible people saying these god-awful things about these kids. Like, God, Lord, you're a horrible person.
Ooh.
So, of course, you find out that the family has been raised, and they're all happy. They all seem fine until one of the teenagers goes out to sit on a swing and play with Fanny and her brother. And, well, they start swinging the kid over a cliff, and the brother climbs up the side of the swing with an axe and goes whack. The guy goes, ew.
Oh my God.
Just fly it out over the water.
Ooh.
The lady who is in the asylum gets very upset because Fanny has a baby. Her baby is mummified.
Oh my God.
And very old. And later on, again, another brother shows up whose name's like Teddy or something like that. Teddy's a little intense. Teddy seems like he really wants to he's the first one who kind of feels like he wants to hurt people. The twist on this, and here's where we'll get into a little bit of spoiler territory. So if you're not interested, do what you did before. Fast forward till I'm not talking anymore. The final girl in this movie is twisted. It's the lady who starts off in the asylum, but she becomes the final girl by cracking and joining the family.
Oh my God. Whoa. Holy cow.
So the parents have helped kill a couple of kids. That's why they're the killer parents. We're still good there.
Okay. Excellent. Good.
Yeah,
I was wondering.
Like, well, you didn't finish off the kids, and then mom sticks him with knitting needles. Take them out.
Ouch.
There's also kind of an uncomfortable. It's not a rape scene, but it is the guy kills one of the girls and then sort of takes her clothes off. No nudity, but it's just uncomfortable and weird.
Okay.
Yeah.
But her movement around is really interesting, and it's a fun, different twist on how to survive a horror movie. Then she twists again when she starts to think the mummified baby is her baby. And an accident happens where the mummified baby's head falls off.
Oh my God, that's awesome.
So she twists back and kind of gets normal again, except she goes on a killing spree while Pa is out hunting or something. She kills everybody in the family.
Whoa.
And Pa comes back to find everybody dead, and great fun. Rod Steiger just, you know what, Rod? You just go for it. Where he comes out afterwards yelling to God about how he'd forsaken him and let all his children die, and I will not believe in you any, just over the top awesomeness. It's a weird one. The kids all being adults is very strange, and you've got that strange little playfulness from the kids. Because they're still their kids, they're still actually family, and there's a couple reveals of how long they've been family that's like, oh shit. I'm not going to say you're going to love this movie. It's great, but
this is just so bizarre.
Yes.
How did you like it?
I found it really interesting.
Okay.
Yeah. It's because it's weird enough. It plays with the tropes of, it's the end of the 80s. So it's the kind of the fading slasher genre. And it does a great job of twisting that genre into something kind of new and different. I think it's probably uncomfortable enough to watch that it didn't do very well. But it's not quite WTF weird. I can see why Arrow or Scream Factory or somebody put this out on Blu-ray. It definitely is deserving to be remembered as a strange 80s slasher film. So, yeah.
Was the family
good.
like, did they hold these people hostage or did the people just stay there?
They were invited to stay.
Oh, okay, gotcha.
Yeah. And
interesting.
Yeah, then things go bad.
I was trying to figure out if it had that kind of Texas Chainsaw vibe or...
No.
Okay.
No, I don't think I'd go there. Okay. They eventually, once a couple people have died, they're trying to kind of get away, but they mess with them on that too. It's well executed. I can see why the director went on to do all kinds of stuff, but it's not what I'm going to say. Everybody, you've got to go see this unless it sounds interesting to you. If it sounds at all interesting, you're going to like this one. That's because it's well executed. There's no doubt about that.
Cool. Very cool. Well, I will go ahead and dive right in.
Sure.
So I chose 1987's Stepfather.
Morrison isn't his real name.
What is it?
God knows, we don't. His personal history was falsified and his prints were untraceable. It was possible Morrison had done it before.
You can call me sentimental, I don't care. I have beautiful friends, I have a wonderful new family. So what do you think? Can we give this little guy a home?
Sure.
That's my girl.
He's a wonderful man, and he wants to care for us. I don't know. There's just something about him.
Oh, that guy in Bellevue that killed his whole family. Cut him up with knives. Maybe they disappointed him. All we need is a little order around here. You're a good boy. He's a good boy. Isn't he a good boy? Your daddy's little angel. Hi, honey.
He's just some crazy creep. Don't you talk to your father that way. He's not my father. How can you even bear to let him touch you? Stop it! We have to talk, honey.
About what?
About what is happening to our family.
I'm taking care of it.
He scares me, Dr. Pondering.
Who am I here?
Help me! Help!
You're a very bad girl.
The Stepfather.
This film, trying to figure out what to say first. There's so much to talk about with it. It's got an 88 critic score and a 65% audience on Rotten Tomatoes.
Weird. Okay.
Yeah, so critics love it. Apparently, audience is not totally sure. It's 89 minutes in length. It grossed $2.5 million, but the budget, I have had the hardest time trying to get the budget. I found one iffy website that said $3 million, which would mean it's like a huge loss.
Boy, that sounds high for that film.
Yeah. So exactly. So I'm not trusting that necessarily. And it doesn't feel like a film that had a loss to me. So not that it would have been a spectacular success, but I feel like it's been seen enough. The director is Joseph Rubin, who also did The Good Son, Sleeping with the Enemy, and he's also known for Dreamscape. And then in between 1998 and 2004, he did like no directing. So I'm not quite sure. He's had some lost years. Like, what's going on with this guy? There's the writer. We have a couple of people credited, including Carolyn Lefcourt. This is kind of the only thing she's credited for. All the sequels and the remakes, she gets like the character credits. Then Brian Garfield, he's a novelist. He did the Death Wish book. Yeah, that's kind of it for him too. I looked up somewhere else though that actually there was an uncredited rewrite by David Lafferly, who did Star Trek 5 and Three Musketeers. So there's probably, I'm going to say that he probably is responsible for the script being as tight as it is, because otherwise, like, two completely unknowns who then didn't continue on makes me question things. It's starring people that you will somebody you definitely recognize. Terry O'Quinn, who was one of the leads in Lost. He's also in Rocketeer as Howard Hughes. Yeah. I do not remember, so I'm really excited. I'm like, I need to like watch a clip. I don't need to see the whole thing, but I want to watch him as Howard Hughes. He was also in Young Guns. He's been in a lot of TV since Lost. So he's been in Emergence, Hawaii Five-0. He did 16 episodes, something called The Patriot. And he was in one episode of Phineas and Ferb, which is like one of my favorite cartoons. So I'm thrilled. I'm like, I'm going to look that up. That's amazing. He also hosted Mysteries of the Missing on the Science Channel. I don't know what that is, but it sounds fascinating. Then you've got Jill Shoden, who plays young Stephanie. She's the teenage stepdaughter. So he plays the stepfather. She's the stepdaughter of him. You may have seen her in Cutting Class, which
Brad Pitt and
it's so good.
Who else is in that?
Well, I don't know.
Maybe it's just
Definitely Brad Pitt.
Name,
yeah.
I've never even heard of that.
Oh
one.
my gosh, it's so good.
One of his very early.
Okay.
Vinegar Syndrome recently put it out. Like, oh my God, it's so good. Ugh. And then Phantom of the Opera, where she played Christine, and it's the '89 version where she's starring opposite Robert Englund.
Right.
It's pretty cool. She also is known for being in the Babes in Toyland TV movie. She did a bunch of singing that she isn't as well known for, but her name is credited on a couple of things for doing some singing.
Cool.
She actually started like having a little bit of a career after this film, but then she did Curse 2 and another film that just sank her career. Oh. And she came up a little bit back when she did part of she was in When a Stranger Calls. So that helped a little bit. And then she started sinking again. So now she has 2 kids and a husband. So that's what she's up to. And then the last but not least is Shelley Hack, who plays the mom. She's a model. She was known as the Charlie's Perfume commercial girl. And then she was in Charlie's Angels. She replaced Kate Jackson. And she lasted 1 year.
Right.
Apparently.
I remember her very well.
What's
very
her
pretty.
name?
Yeah, she's gorgeous. Her name's Shelley Hack.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, she's actually, she was a lot of fun in this film too. So the basic premise of The Stepfather is it's a man who is a stepfather who murders people. I mean, it's really on it's really in the title.
It's not ambiguous kind of film at all where you go, oh, that like I Saw the Dead. This is about what you expect it to be about.
Yeah, you see him on the cover and you're like, oh, okay, he looks evil. And he is. Yep. There you go. It's actually based loosely on John List, the serial killer.
I didn't know that.
Yeah. But it's not like it's not so much a biopic. It's definitely more of
sort of like Texas Chainsaw is based on Eddie.
Right, exactly. Exactly.
Okay.
So a couple of it's kind of interesting story. So it starts off with this really interesting camera angle. It shows like a neighborhood, and I was like, oh man, is this from Halloween? Is this the Halloween neighborhood? And then it does like a handheld shot up to a window, and I was like, we are so in Halloween territory right now. And then you get into the house, and it stops copying Halloween, if it was trying to at all. And then we get a kind of full frontal nude shot right off the bat of O'Quinn. It's crazy, and it's actually a reflection in the mirror, and I was like, I don't know what this film was rated, but holy Jesus. And later you get a full nude of the teenage girl who's supposed to be 16 too. Yeah, so I was kind of like, damn, film, all right, I guess we're doing this. He's covered in blood. He's washing himself off. He has a scraggly beard, and cleans himself up. He tosses a wedding ring into a suitcase, like very nonchalant, zips it together, starts walking down the stairs, and there's this big bloody handprint on the wall of the staircase. And as he goes down and we follow him down, there's just this scene of total carnage. It is just such a brilliant little like introduction to this world. If nothing else, this film is really good at show don't tell. Like, it's very effective. So, he puts himself together. He's, whistling his way out the door, closes things up, picks something up off the lawn, drives himself to a ferry boat. We're set in Washington State. Yes. Yeah.
Oh, another one. All
it's
right.
not actually shot in Washington, but set here. He's apparently from Bellevue. This murder takes place, the sketchy neighborhood streets of Bellevue. Then he jumps on a ferry boat, which this is the moment where I was like, because I've been on like pretty much all the ferries in the state.
Yeah.
This is not one of our state ferries. It looks an awful lot kind of like a state ferry, but I was looking at the islands and I live on one of these islands. I'm like, this pattern of islands does not look familiar.
Look right.
It's definitely shot up in like Vancouver somewhere I'm pretty sure. But it like they try, which is great. Yeah. They have a city shot that may or may not be Seattle. It's kind of hard to tell. So anyways, he dumps the suitcase into the sea and we're off to the races. 1 year later, a teenage girl rides her bike up to a house and is hanging out with her mom. They're throwing leaves at each other. They're clearly a happy unit. And mom's boyfriend shows up. Boyfriend. It's Jerry. Or as the girl refers to him, Scary Jerry. He's definitely got a slightly different look than the previous year. He's doesn't have the beard. It's kind of the main thing. And he seems like a really loving, great, cool guy. He loves his girlfriend. There's lots of immediate sex going on. So that's, they must like each other.
Throwing leaves around.
He was not partaking in a leaf throwing. He was not cool in it. That's how you can tell he's no good. Because in the mom, it's actually really heartbreaking because the mom is like throwing leaves at their daughter and the car pulls up and she like takes off like mid-play. She's like, nope, I'm done with you now. Peace out. I'm going to go hang out with this guy. So the daughter is feeling like kind of weird about this guy. She's not really sure what's going on with him, but he just gives her a bad feeling. And something happened to the dad. We never really find out what. So I don't know whether or not it's implied that he was murdered by the stepfather. Yeah. But, there's almost like a hint that it could have been. She's got a therapist that she goes to, and the therapist is this like insanely cool guy who's like really like listens to her and he kind of believes her. And she's like, oh, she's having trouble in school. This is actually the most adorable shit. She is like a little thug in school and she's getting in like straight up fist fights, but then she's in like a scene with like an Eskimo sweater with penguins on it. She's like not hardcore, but like totally like, I got expelled today. Like if you set this film in the aughts or, today, that kid would be like pierced and tattooed and all kinds of stuff. No, she's got her Eskimo sweater
lives in Bellevue.
Oh yeah, lives in Bellevue and she's punching a yacht, like it's amazing. They're just like, screw it. Yeah, she is who she is. You start to get these hints that there's something a little bit off with him. Like he has a moment where he goes down to the basement. The daughter's grabbing some ice cream for a party and he just starts yelling and saying weird stuff. And it's like he's drifting in and out of personalities. And then he kind of brushes it off and he's like, how real estate businesses, honey. Sometimes you just gotta let off a little bit of steam. It's just really well played in his dynamic of this character. You really get these hints as to what's going on with him without it being too super overt. So he's watching Mr. Ed on TV and he's like, oh man, I really love this. And he's always going on about like family values and how the family unit's really important to him. And he starts to crack around the edges whenever we see a problem within the family. So the daughter acting out starts to crack him into this other personality that he wants to go and murder people with. So the tension builds whenever something with the family isn't quite right, because you know what he's going to do. And like he'll grab a knife and then he'll calm himself down and put it back. And you're like, shit is about to go out the door. And there was finally like a moment where the daughter kind of warms up to him. He kills her therapist in a... Of course. Oh my gosh, of course. Yeah, the therapist, he wants to learn a little bit more about this guy. He wants to get a sense of why the daughter's feeling weird about him. So he meets up with with the stepdad to look at a piece of property, and things go wrong because he says he doesn't like families, and of course he gets murdered. So afterwards the daughter has like nobody left, and so she really like, you know, warms up to the stepdad, and they're hugging and put up this birdhouse, very sweet.
Throw leaves at each other.
Oh yeah, exactly. The leaf throwing. He's welcome now. He's part of the family. And then she like makes out with a boy on the porch, and he loses his shit, and he starts calling him a rapist, and yeah, all this crazy stuff. And he's like, she's 16, and the boy is like, I'm 16, and the mom's like, I've known him since he was in diapers, and the stepdad's like, what does that mean? And it's amazing because he instantly goes back. He quits his job. He starts packing up his stuff, and you're like, oh my god, he's gonna murder all of you. And it's just so chill. And the wife is like, hey, we really need to talk. And he's like, don't worry, I'm taking care of it. And you're like, oh my god, the taking care of it is gonna be murdering you. There's this really fun like side story where the brother of the last wife he killed, last family, is like hunting him down in like a beat up Datsun.
Oh, I forgot about this.
It's so weird. Yeah, like he's just following him around. He's trying to get to the bottom of it. He wants this newspaper to print a picture because he feels like somebody might recognize him. He kind of gets these clues as to like where he's at, and he finally like hunts him down, and it's so sad. He doesn't last. You can tell the whole reason, the whole side story is just so he gets a weapon in the house that can come into play in the final family battle. So, it's a kind of amazing film in that it's a great movie. It's a really good movie. I love like I said, they have the show don't tell situation, the way in which the character is triggered into killing people, and that tension throughout. There's even these like weird little things too that are thrown in. Like there's a family dinner moment where they're eating, and he's wearing a red and black checkered shirt, like a hunter shirt, and behind him is a taxidermied bird, and he's like at the head of the table, and you're like, yeah, this is really thoughtful. Like
that's cool.
He's like, yeah, he's the hunter, and this family doesn't even know that they're the prey. The fact that he does this like really interesting thing where he quits his job, and it's not like he's like, oh, I'm gonna go kill these people. It's that he like, you know, puts a bald cap on, or he takes his wig off. I can't remember which way it is. And he goes across and he gets a new job in a new place. And so you just know that it's coming. But the main takeaway I got from this film is you should never trust a man in penny loafers.
That is good advice.
I think so. I don't know why penny loafers are, or ever have been a thing. I do not get it.
Men's fashion is a little weird.
It's
very simple. Hey, let's make it fancy. We'll put a penny in it.
We'll have tassels off of it and no like clear front section. No tying anything for you. You're a man about town.
Terry O'Quinn is so good in this role. He turns on the charm so easily, and then he goes insane. So it's just chilling.
It is. It's it's funny because I almost didn't recognize him as being the Lost guy. I remember when Lost came out and people were like, that's the stepfather. And I had no idea what they were talking about. And it didn't even dawn on me because I'm like, this guy is just so chameleon at being able to inhabit this role.
Yeah.
Oh, he's brilliant.
Yeah, he was on Millennium for several seasons. Well, not several seasons. The 2 seasons that Millennium was on. And what I'm remembering out of this movie, doesn't he call his wife the wrong name?
Yes.
And then he says, wait a second, who am I here?
Yes.
And it was just like, oh God, he's cracking.
Oh my God. Yeah, there were some really...
And then he hits it with a hammer or something, right?
Yeah, he does. He hits her with a
never mind.
hammer.
It doesn't matter who I am.
Yeah, there are some great little moments. When he's talking to this other guy about, the murders that had happened, that he obviously killed the person, the family. We're like, man, why would anyone do something like that? And he turns and he says, maybe they disappointed him.
Oh, jeez.
I was like, oh my God.
I'm not so much angry. I'm disappointed.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, no, there's some really, truly chilling moments in here. And just, his need for the perfect family. And they never fully explain it. He says, I had a really rough childhood. That's it. That's all you know.
I think, that's better, right?
Yeah.
It is. Oh my God, it's so much better.
He's a monster.
I don't need to know.
That makes him more sympathetic.
Yeah, I really don't. I know there's a Stepfather 2 and 3 and a remake. I don't need. Maybe I'll watch 2.
I saw the remake because I really like the show Nip Tuck. And the guy who plays the stepfather in there was the lead guy in Nip Tuck.
Oh.
And it's a good performance, but I don't think it has the dynamic energy and qualities that the first one had. Mm-hmm. It's not a bad remake, but it's not a outstanding remake either.
Interesting. Yeah. I can see how it would be like, it's what we were talking about earlier, like why remake a film that's already good?
Right. Exactly.
You're not necessarily going to reach a bar that's set in such a specific time and moment. And yeah. That 80s, fear of the family. Never stop.
Well, I was initially going to go with Mom and Dad, with Nicolas Cage, and I just thought that somebody else would do that. And then I thought, Cage has had kind of a renaissance, and I think that most people know about Mom and Dad.
Yeah, we've talked about it. That was one that I almost. We didn't put any caveats on this one as far as movie, but that was one I almost put.
Don't
and also
do
why
Mom
I
and
didn't
Dad.
pick him.
Right.
Well, we've talked about it a few times, but it's freaking great.
That's so funny. Yeah, because I'd seen it totally as a fluke when I went to my other film family's cult movie thingy thing. And so I have not heard anyone else talk about that movie. But I similarly was like, I'm not going to find something else.
Yeah.
Well, I scraped the bottom of the barrel for mine, you guys.
All right.
I chose from 1988, Flesh-Eating Mothers.
Welcome to a typical American town. With good, solid values. The kids go to school. The fathers have good jobs.
Anybody home? Billy!
And the mothers eat their children.
Really running away.
Flesh-eating mothers.
My mother ate my baby brother.
My mother ate my father.
I've never done anything like this before.
See what happens when a strange virus is covered up by the authorities.
There's an epidemic out there. Mothers are eating their children.
And sends the housewives into a flesh-eating frenzy.
This chick's got cannibals for a mother. And her mother's friends, man, it is all of them.
Don't talk about my mother that way.
You'd think in the future they would show some good breeding.
My mother!
Flesh-eating mothers. Luckily, the kids realize Mom is preparing them for dinner. And take matters into their own hands.
My mother told me never to deck a lady, but she didn't say shit about a cannibal.
Flesh-eating mothers.
Wow.
Boy, we got a tight, unlike the Invisible one where we were over decades. We got like a 5-year span here,
Yeah,
and all these movies are in.
Killer Parents are like a really flash in the pan.
This This, I could find no budget or box office, but it looks like it cost several $1,000s, maybe as many as 10.
Shot on VHS.
Yeah, Rotten Tomatoes, the critics, no score because no critic reviewed this.
Sure.
The audience has it at 51%.
Not bad.
Was it you? Were you the sole audience member that reviewed this?
It was directed by James Aeons Martin, who wrote I Was a Teenage Zombie and then nothing else.
Okay.
It was written by Zev Schlesinger and James Aeons Martin. It stars Robert Lee Oliver, Donatella Hecht, Neil Rosen. You probably don't recognize those names because they never did a goddamn thing after this movie.
Oh, my favorite kind of movies.
This is low-budget schlock, like you can only get in the 80s. I remember seeing this when I lived down in Los Angeles, and it was not Joe Bob Briggs. It was there was something called Up All Night. Do you guys remember this?
Yeah. USA's Up All Night.
Yeah, and I think
Rhonda something.
It might have been Rhonda, or it might have even been when Gilbert Gottfried was hosting it. But I saw this then, and it's just always stuck with me because it's bad. Let me just say this. But it's one of those movies that's so bad that it's good, and you know that I love that.
Oh, yeah.
This is a small town that has a lot of women, married women, who are having sex with the same guy. They're cheating on their husbands, all with the same guy.
Wow.
Yeah, he's a Lothario, as you might imagine. Shirt open to the navel, chains.
Oh, my.
And he's carrying some kind of weird STD.
Uh-oh.
And this STD only attacks women who have had children.
Wow.
Yes, so the childless mothers, no problem. But the ones who have given birth, for whatever reason, it causes them to go kind of zombie-ish. And they start attacking their kids or their cats or their husbands, police officers, everybody. They go insane. Trigger warning, there is a cat that is eaten. But the effects in this are so bad that it looks very much like a teddy bear is being pulled apart.
Oh, okay. Not so.
I will say this, though. The moms start getting weirder and weirder looking, and the effects are so cheap and bad that I guess they're supposed to look kind of like zombies, but it is really unsettling because they just look weird.
Yeah.
So, like, it's almost like they have, pronounced foreheads or something like that, and, they built up the cheeks a little bit. I don't know what they did. It looks bad and uncomfortable. So,
interesting.
The acting is wonderfully awful. Nobody is a pro in this. I mean, I look up the IMDb stuff. There's no photos with anybody.
Excellent.
And you hit on their name, and the only thing they're known for is this movie. With that being said, it tells a story. It's shot fairly decently. Everybody is kind of aware of the movie they're making.
Oh, that's good.
Yeah, there's one scene where these guys are talking about how he had walked in and his mom was eating his baby brother.
Oh my God.
And at one point, they both start laughing, and you can tell that these are actors who are laughing at the stupid line they just delivered. And the director was just like, cut, print.
We're good to go.
We're good. One of the subplots, just to let you know what kind of movie this is, involves a romance with a little person and a very tall woman. This is the kind of humor we are dealing with in this.
Is it almost feel like it's like a bunch of buddies got together and made a movie kind of thing?
Yeah, I was going to say, is this like, little Timmy got a movie camera and he's all right, the neighborhood's going to come together.
It's more professional looking than that,
yeah,
but not much more. The lighting is pretty bad. You'll get a shadow on a wall or something. It's just like nobody saw that shadow and said, hey, we can't do that.
Maybe little Timmy went to film school and came back.
Right. There's some good baby eating scenes.
Okay.
There is a good penis eating scene.
Okay, sure.
And a lot of various flesh eating scenes, all by mothers. At the end, the STD is cured with penicillin.
Oh my God.
Wow. How did you come to that conclusion?
Well, not only that, but throughout the movie, we're told that it's a virus and antibiotics only fight infections. So there's no way that this could have been cured
Wait a minute.
with penicillin.
I'm highly confused right
Just make some shit up, man. If you could
I just love that there was like zero research put into anything
0%.
they were doing on this film.
Oh my God.
This film is fun, though. This would be the movie you want to put on in the background of Thanksgiving.
Sure.
Especially
I could do
penis
it.
eating.
Oh, yeah.
A lot of flesh being, stretched and torn. Hammer to the head. That was a good one. At one point, Mom is trying to fatten her kid up because she wants to eat him. So she's trying to feed him a lot. And it is so stupid, but 100% entertaining.
Oh my God. So when they get cured, are they sad about they done?
No, yes, of course they're sad, but
it's not hereditary acting we're getting here for the death of a child.
Right. I mean, everybody is kind of like, oh, well, at least the horror is over. Or is it?
Dun, dun, dun.
Because there is, of course, a final scene where one of the moms turns around and she's still all, yeah.
Oh, no.
So
where might one see this?
Oh,
epic!
Amazon Prime, for free.
I'm actually not surprised.
Wow.
Amazon Prime has a lovely selection of weird shit, and you can follow. Once you start looking for a particular genre, you can go down the other films you may like rabbit hole and get into some weird ass shit.
That's like that Killer Bunny one that I talked about one time.
Right.
That's how it's like just clicking down. What are we going to see here? Oh shit!
So when you pick this subgenre, like I said, mom and dad, and then I thought, I wonder if flesh-eating mothers is around, and imagine my delight when I just look on the TV and there it is, ready for me to watch.
Fairly,
wow.
Is it a decent copy? I mean, like,
well, yeah, it's decent. Look, this
like
never got a
VHS
Blu-ray
level
release.
Or like that. Yeah, so okay.
This never showed in a theater. This never did anything. I don't know if it showed anywhere but Up All Night.
Yeah.
I don't know. I had a blast with it again.
Somewhere.
It was, it was just so bad.
Wow.
I loved every minute of it. Yeah.
I'm going to have to wait for a drinking night for this.
I think you already have one selected for. We've done WTF. At some point, we might want to do So Bad They're Good films.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, I feel like I have a leg up on you guys because that's my jam.
I'm adding to them. I'm getting there.
I used to hate that kind of movie.
Yeah.
Probably until about 5 or 6 years ago.
Yeah,
and suddenly
same.
Holy shit.
It's only been the last like 2.5 years for me that I've actually enjoyed. I mean, there's some I still cannot stand.
Yeah.
Like street trash, I think is horrible, but
So Bad is good now. I find far more entertaining.
Yeah.
yeah.
Well, we'll put that on the list of possible subgenres, but since we're talking about that, that means it is my choice for the next subgenre.
What are you going to choose?
Well, last episode we had talked about Jaws and how traumatic that was for me to see, and I thought that might be a good thing to talk about in depth, and so I would like to pick kinder trauma for our next subgenre. Ooh. This is films that you probably should not have seen at such a young age.
Oh, nice. Yeah. I think we got a few between us.
Yep. Oh, yeah, I've got one there.
All right, guys, my throat is going. I'm done with this. I'm done with all of you. Thank you so much to everybody who likes and shares all the posts and all that stuff.
That's right.
Thanks for the 5-star reviews. Really, really appreciate that. And
give me some more challenge films, guys. I want some more.
Yes, do that. And we will see you in a week for Kinder Trauma.
What?
Our show is recorded somewhere high above Naval Station Everett at the nexus of all realities and is engineered and produced by Eric Morgret. Our theme music is Strange Aeons Part 1 by the band Nightshade and is used with permission. Find Strange Aeons Radio on Facebook, Twitter, and Instagram, and wherever fine podcasts are found.